Some call it a waste of time, others call it an incredible waste of time. With the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony taking place for the class of 2023 tomorrow, I want to take a look at the bands and artists who have feuded with the Hall of Fame.
They make this so unpleasant that they came this close. No, we're not going to wrap this one up. I'm going to wrap you up. You go sit down over there and learn something.
Neil Young has had a long history with the Rock Hall, being inducted for his solo work in 1995, and he's inducted other artists as well. But in 1997, when Buffalo Springfield was inducted, he refused to attend. It's worth noting that in 1995, the ceremony was televised for the first time since artists were first inducted starting in 1986. Young apparently had an issue with televising the ceremony, and it was said he was also upset that his bandmates had to shell out a ton of money to have themselves and their wives attend, writing a statement that read, and I quote, "This presentation is in direct opposition to what I believe. Although I accept the honor in the name of rock and roll, I decline to take part in this TV presentation and be trotted out like some cheap award show. There are already too many of these." Black Sabbath wouldn't be inducted until 2006, but they had long been nominated as far back as the 90s. It's kind of shocking to think that these guys didn't get in on their first nomination. Frontman Ozzy Osbourne would write a letter to the Rock Hall in 1999 accusing them of elitism, writing, "Just take our name off the list. The nomination is meaningless because it's not voted on by the fans. It's voted on by the supposed elite for the industry and the media who've never bought an album or concert ticket in their lives." However, Black Sabbath would get inducted 7 years later, and Ozzy seemed to have a change of heart and showed up for the ceremony. Sex Pistols would only put out one studio album during their time together, but they would be hugely influential. You think they would be a shoo-in for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but apparently the band had been denied entry into the Hall 5 previous times. In 2005, the band were finally announced as inductees for the 2006 class, joining some pretty fine company including Black Sabbath, Blondie, Leonard Skinner, and the late Miles Davis, to name a few. It was a month prior to the induction ceremony, John Lydon would put out a statement that read, and I quote, "Next to the Sex Pistols, rock and roll in that Hall of Fame is a piss stain. Your museum, urine and wine, we're not coming, we're not your monkeys. If you voted for us, hope you noted your reasons. You're anonymous as judges, but you're still music industry people. We're not coming, you're not paying attention. Outside the shitstream is a real Sex Pistol." As for what happened at the ceremony, the Hall of Fame's founder would read the Pistol statement. 4 years before Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose reunited with Duff McKagan and Slash, the band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012. For many fans, including myself, the Rock Hall ceremony represented really the best opportunity for Axl and Slash to squash their nearly 15-year feud. Axl, however, never showed up, while Slash, Duff, Matt Sorum, and Steven Adler did, and Axl would pen an open letter asking not to be inducted. In 2014, Kiss would finally be inducted into the Rock Hall after being snubbed for nearly 15 years. Guitarist and vocalist Paul Stanley would state in his acceptance speech, "Here we are tonight, basically inducted for the same things that we were kept out for." Later, he made a plug for the fans, saying they want to be part of the induction, they want to be part of the nomination, they don't want to be spoon-fed by a hand of people choices. The people pay for tickets, the people buy albums, the people who nominate do not. It was in 2016 Steve Miller would be inducted into the Rock Hall with other long overdue acts including Cheap Trick, Chicago, and Deep Purple, and rap group NWA would also be inducted the same year. The run-up to Steve Miller's induction seemed like any other year. Even the ceremony seemed to go off without a hitch, despite Miller's gentle criticism during his speech, asking the Rock Hall to induct more women. Then he went backstage, and that's where the exciting stuff really happened. Keep in mind, the person trying to interrupt him in the clip I'm about to show you is the publicist for the Rock Hall.
The whole process needs to be changed from the top to the bottom. Doesn't need to be this hard. There's nothing fancy going on out there that requires all of this stuff. They need to get their legal work straight. They need to respect the artists they say they're honoring, which they don't. I don't have any of my paperwork is signed. I have no licensing agreements with these people. They're trying to steal footage. They're trying to make me indemnify them. When they told me I was inducted, they said you can have 2 tickets, one for your wife and one for yourself. Want another one? It's $10,000. Sorry, that's the way it goes. I said, I'm playing here. What about my band? What about their wives? What about they make this so unpleasant that they came this close. No, we're not going to wrap this one up. I'm going to wrap you up. You go sit down over there and learn something. So here's what you need to know. This is how close this whole show came to not happening because of the way the artists were actually being treated right now. So I'll wrap it up right now.
In 2018, Dire Straits would be inducted into the Rock Hall, and while most artists either have someone actually induct them and the attending members usually perform, neither happened to Dire Straits. In fact, the band became the first act to not have an induction speaker, and not helping was that Mark Knopfler didn't attend and didn't really put out any statement as to why he wasn't going. Also absent was the group's drummer Pick Withers, but Mark's brother David also was a no-show, but he would put out a statement slamming the Rock Hall for reneging on their promise to pay for his travel expenses, putting out a statement that read, "I can well understand that with only $5 million a year in sponsorships and $100,000 a table and no fees for the artist, that paying my taxi to the airport must have given them heart murmur." That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know if there's any artists I should have featured in today's video, and we'll see you again in Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.